All right, ladies and gents, welcome to a 1v1 game. And we've talked a lot about the Bohemians recently. Trust me, we will. But I think we're going to see more and more about the Goths. Even though I don't expect any changes with them, I just feel like it's a civ that isn't streamed enough, isn't talked about enough, isn't casted enough. So here we have it. Now, Hallis is in the blue. Hallis is a player who's in really good shape lately. And Hallis is playing as the Bohemians, a new civ. I think the better civ in this particular matchup. Hallis is like top 50 from the UK. Good player. He's I don't know how motivated he is per se, but he's on the younger side of things. Has been more and more active, so that's good. Repard also on the up and up. Both of these players played before the Definitive Edition came out. I think Repard actually has had a better peak than Hallis. Maybe it's close, but Repard has had better tournament results, let's put it that way. Hallis actually did have a crazy best-of-5 victory in WWC, if you watched Wandering Warriors Cup. Won 3-2. I think it was a reverse sweep, actually. Yeah, 3-2 reverse sweep against a good Vietnamese player. Yeah, we've got Arabia, and this was right before they removed King of the Desert version of Arabia. This is like the last glimpse we're going to get of this super deserty, open, hilly version of Arabia for a while. So I'm going to say good riddance, because it was a bit much for me. I don't know if Chad agrees. It was a bit much for me. I got a little tired of it, you know? 4 months of the same version. And the thing is, at this present time, when this game took place, pretty much the full-on meta due to the map gen, and meta overall due to certain changes the game has made as Man-at-Arms. So let's talk about the Goths. So first off, the Goths received a few tweaks over the last few years. There was a point, March of 2020. Oh, God, this is a good story. So February of 2020... we were having the Hidden Cup 3 qualifier. Obviously a big deal, right? Anytime a Hidden Cup rolls around, it is my maximum focus. I literally tell my friends and family, even my girlfriend, like, hey, I'm not going to be around as much. I'm not going to talk as much. I'm going to like spend more time alone because I just bunker down and I take it so seriously. From the maps to the settings, I need to be prepped. Everything's need to be perfect. Now, the game had been out for like 5 months at this point, and many people had the opinion that Goths were not that good until late game, which is maybe still the case. And the devs were trying to shake things up. And I don't know the exact date, guys, but I cannot remember a moment where I was more upset with the devs and the balance team when they buffed Goths and they made Goth infantry like 25% cheaper in Dark Age. Could someone get the percentages of what that was for me while I'm casting this? Anyways, the story doesn't necessarily matter overall to this cast, but I'll tell the story. During Hidden Cup 3, they did that, and I was shooting out emails and making phone calls. I was like, why did no one run this past me? And we actually had to ban Goths for the entire event. The players, we collectively agreed. I didn't put it in the public rules, but the players were like, I can't play a competitive tournament with this. Like, the meta was like 20 or 30 militia in Dark Age. It was a different game. It was 35% discount in all ages. Yeah, it was something insane. Anyways, and so long story short, we didn't have it in Hidden Cup 3. We got past it. The devs have gotten better at communicating and balancing, you know, putting changes in different areas. And so then the Goths had, they start with Loom. I think that's what it was, right? They started with Loom instantly. And then there was the meta, and maybe you can check out some YouTube videos on this, where villagers were going forward. And Goths were like shooting people's boars and building forward barracks and doing all this crazy stuff. And then they made another change, and they made it so Goths can research Loom instantly. So all I'm trying to say is Goths have received some tweaks over the last 2 years, and we've ended up at a point where it's better. They have a tiered discount on their infantry, and so that helps them here, right? Hallis scouted this, I think. Actually, maybe not. Anyways, he's making his own militia. And as 2 militia arrive here, Repard shows up with his 2 very cheap militia, sees a villager and tries to kill it. And Hallis has kind of expected it. Now, Bohemians get their mining upgrades for free in each age. Bohemians have faster villagers after monk upgrades. They have cheaper blacksmiths. They get chemistry and castle. They've got a lot of stuff going for them. Goths don't have a single eco bonus. Not a single eco bonus except for maybe killing boars a little faster. No eco bonus that stands out anyways. So for Goths, it's about numbers, it's about aggression. And And if you get to a certain stage with them, because all the earlier bonuses were nerfed because of all the craziness we talked about, then they can compete. But it's a tough matchup. Now, I love how repard is opened here. And this is all comes down to trying to get control. So he's invested less into his militia because it's cheaper as a civ. But also, he hasn't created a third one. And even though he's not going to win this fight, and that's actually really bad to lose your scout, but even though he's not going to win this fight, he's not pressured at home. So it allows him some time to do certain things. He goes to the same lumber camp over here, and it kind of feels like he's going to go to gold. And maybe, just maybe, consider making some archers. Steven, what's up, man? He says, man, I played AoE2 back in the early 2000s. It was great. Enjoyed Rise of Nations more. May need to look back into RTS. Was super good in Rise of Nations. Nice. Yeah, I don't know anything about the Rise of Nations community, or if there's a community. But welcome back to RTS games, man. Even if you don't play a lot of Age. Happy to have you watching, of course. Ooh, interesting play here for repard. So he doesn't open with the range. This is a little worrying, right? Because the faster feudal age was kind of what he wanted to gain from the whole distraction. Feels like there's so much opportunity for Hallis. Granted, he's got a weak scout. Is he going to get booped here? No, he sees the Vil. Okay. And yeah, Hallis wants to use his scout to block this off. So the archer range will be faster for repard. Just slightly faster because he added it before Hallis was in feudal. But this is a start for Hallis that he's going to love. Because he's now getting man-at-arms. He loses his scout. Oh, but he traps the Vil. That should be a dead Vil right there. And wow, repard has to delete the mill. So overall, I really disagree with how repard is opened in feudal age. Because I think an instant archer range would have at least given him 2 ranges. But he wanted to go for the walls, guys. He wanted to be safe, and he's kind of paid the price for that. He felt like it was worth deleting the mill there so he doesn't lose a villager. So that's going to hurt his eco. And you can see it's not looking pretty. And behind this, Hallis is going to go double archer range. It's tricky against Goths is you don't necessarily want to commit too heavily to archers in the long term because Goths do get Huskarls, but that's at a low elo. At a high elo, players realize you need eco, you need a castle, and then you can get Huskarls. And there's a lot of game to be played up until that point. Not the best start here for repard, and I can see why Hallis would want to take this fight. And villager goes down, but in the end, I actually think this isn't the worst for repard, because he probably thought... He's probably thinking, man, that could have been worse. He could have had to deal with that army for a long time. And so he's going to add his blacksmith to hope to get fletching. And he's definitely got some walls, but this is King of the Desert Arabia. It is super open. I feel like ranged units here or here for Hallis will do a lot of damage. Hallis is really not the type of player to go double range. Hallis, he really likes to go one range and fast blacksmith. And then he just likes to macro his way to castle age. So I'm a little surprised to see this many numbers. It might have something to do with the matchup, though. He's got mining upgrades. He knows how dangerous Goths can be later on, so he wants to snowball a little bit. I get it. Lots of walling right now. Like, a few ranged units for either player could be smart. And maybe Hallis is worried. It seems like he's hesitant to move out. Here he comes. Looks like repard maybe wants to sneak. Notice no upgrades yet, so he wants to sneak to get to the enemy eco. And he's going to be spotted here. A 4-4 KD. Man, I love how all the stages of the game matter on Arena. Or, not Arena, sorry. I was thinking the map that where all stages of the game don't matter as much. Sorry, Arena guys, but I have to appreciate how many things we've been able to talk about so far. I know that, like, Arabia all the time can get old. But there is a reason that people like their open land maps, and it's because of all the different things you can see. And this wall will complete over here for repard, so not bad. He's also got a safe stone back here, so the opportunity for Huskarls is going to be there. Now, Archer's getting behind the wood line. It's a really bad spot to be chopping wood if you're a villager. And fletching is in for repard as he's going to make his own skirms. So for now, I love how Hallis has kind of kept his skirms against the archers, and then he's basically keeping his archers on the wood line because of this. But at the same time, he doesn't have his full group, and Repard's micro has been really good. And now Repard's got a full group. What are we going to see here? Still double range production from Hallis. He does have more military. Not sure what's happening over here. But Repard's back in business. Not bad. Not bad, not bad, not bad. I feel like if Hallis would have continued to run around with his man-at-arms, it would have at least stopped the wall here. Or here, you know? Or prevented Repard from running out with his archers. Which would have given Hallis more opportunities. I could be wrong, of course, but... Man, this is weird. Oh, we're going to have a base trade here. Oh, this is going to be sick. Okay. Should be better for Hallis. He's expecting Repard to be here with his army, guys. Both players will be shocked here in a second. So, I wonder if Hallis is going to realize the army's not here and look at his base right now. Repard clearly reacting. He knows he needs to do some counter damage. See. This is a fight that Hallis is microing, and he will win. Big time. Opponent's going into a tower. And Repard's going to try and dive underneath the TC. And look at Hallis. He says, nope. Not going to happen. The TC ought to do more damage here, but what a great play from Hallis. What a great play, guys. And honestly... This game is super, 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 super over. Like, the army count, the eco count, everything should be all in Hallis's control from here. So Repard kind of made the mistake. He played into one range instead of two, and then he left his base, and now he's in trouble. But guess what, guys? We do have Goths. If there's ever a sim to come back, it would be Goths. So what's fun about casting Goths is the reason Repard is in a rough position against Bohemians is because of Goths. He can't compete with the eco. He also went for kind of a passive opening, to be fair. But look at this. He's found a stone. Look at Hallis' scouting. Hallis does not see that stone. Hallis sees this stone. Hallis is denying the golds. Hallis has got plenty of army. Hallis probably thinks, okay, I could maybe drop a castle of my own. I'll send a few villagers to stone. Maybe I could make those, not Hoofnite, sorry, the hussite wagons, which I think could be good against infantry if it happens. And he's just shooting down the farms. If you're Goths, it's so often about getting solid eco against, solid eco with a castle. He's going to get the castle because he hasn't been spotted over here. Because he has to relocate a whole wood line. I can't necessarily say his eco is solid. And for Hallis, he's just punishing the fact that Repard doesn't have army to deal with this, and he's just taking out the farms. He's taken out like 5 farms already. So hundreds of wood down the drain. And what I'd like to see here from Hallis is a wall. Like, this house wall was obviously, he started it to trap the army. But maybe wall to the edge of the map, you know? Like, you shouldn't have completed the houses in the first place, in my opinion. But whatever, you do that. Just wall this way. Just in case. You don't know what's out there. I mean, we'll see. What's the plan for Repard? Okay, has the stone for a castle. Perfect timing. He drops the castle on the other side of the wood line here. This is really smart. I think what I would have done is I would have dropped the castle here or here. But I guess in his eyes, Hallis doesn't know about this because Hallis hasn't gone there yet. And Hallis knows about the wood line, so he wants to drop it there. Hallis with kind of a late uptime, but he did go double range, and that's what you sacrifice. You're investing more into the army, and he's benefited from that. And let's see if he takes advantage of all the Bohemian bonuses. Really could be a little bit better with his scouting here, you think, right? I think Hallis thinks he's completely won the game and that this is over due to the Civ matchup. As he clicks Elite Skirm. Elite Skirm! Okay, so Hallis doesn't know. And we're talking top 50, top 60 players. So keep that in mind if you ever play with Goths. Like, you can get away with some crazy stuff. Now, here's what's fun about Huskarls. So Huskarls, and I feel like this is something I haven't talked about enough over the years. They have 6 pierce armor, okay? A crossbow with full upgrades does 7 damage. So that means a crossbow does 1 damage against these units with armor. So this means researching armor on your Huskarls is not even beneficial until other units come into play. So I always research armor because I think I need to get like at least a little bit of armor, but it doesn't actually help you. Okay, Hallis comes over here. Hallis knows the Huskarls are out now, so he's like, oh crap, that's kind of bad. So now the Huskarls show up. Now he can still focus down 3 Huskarls. It's just not going to be easy. And he's now got this other army. At home, he drops the hussite wagons because he's thinking, okay, I need hussite wagons because I need something other than crossbow. And then you also have the monastery, hopefully for fervor, that makes the villagers faster. And he'll add the second TC. But repard is caught up. Repard clears this. He knew he didn't need to get armor. Now, you would want armor against some other units that might come out, but for now you don't really need that. And he's got gold now. He's got amazing eco. I mean, 3 TCs. This is solid. But still would consider him behind because Bohemians have the more efficient eco. If they get the fervor upgrade, Bohemians also can research chemistry, which I think probably should have been prioritized already by Hallis, but he might just be delaying it for the time being. What would you say is the most versatile civ? Guys, this is actually the first time I'll ever see Huskarls against hussite wagons, so I'm really excited. It looks like the Huskarls get completely wrecked. 60 HP versus 200 HP, 17 attack versus 10. This is so bad for the Huskarls. Most versatile civ in the game. Can I say it depends? Probably Chinese. Probably Chinese. I think Chinese has to be answer number 1 for land maps. I don't think any civ can compare with Chinese. Apart from that, you could maybe say Malians. Yep. Okay, here come the Husks. This is what you have to do. If you can't engage against the main force, you have to do something like this. Here he comes. We still haven't seen fervor from Hallis. The civ is kind of new, guys. And, you know, this game is my life. I talk about it, play it all the time. This is all I do. Sometimes the weakness of some high-level players is they play and they don't read too much. No offense to Hallis if he hears that, but, like, my point is that's a pretty basic thing. Oh, okay, take it back. Wagenburg tactics. It actually makes his gunpowder faster. So he does know about that one, so he knows some stuff. And actually, maybe he does have fervor now. I take it back. He's got it. I think he has it. Those are some pretty fast fills. Okay, he runs right underneath the TC, just destroying repard. And repard's like, now these things are faster? What? KD, not too impressive for repard. He's not ahead in economy. He's not doing well with economy either with the worker efficiency. You can see that's dipped because he's had to hide a lot of his vills. Saracens and Japanese have amazing versatility too. Now, I don't think Japanese should be on the list. Not the top 5. A lot of people think they have good cav, but lacking the final armor is really bad. Also, they don't get bomber cannon. Also, they don't get siege ram. They're up there-ish. But personally, I would say Saracens is way more versatile. Saracens can go knights, camels, hand cannons, arbalest. They can go for bomber cannon, siege ram. Oh yeah, I kind of know what you mean. But again, it kind of depends. Like, Japanese are more versatile with their economy in the early game. But certainly here, like, Bohemians are just built to deal with Goths. They have amazing gunpowder. And having amazing gunpowder is something you'd want against an infantry civ. Catapulto Trebs versus bomber cannon thought. Catapulto is a technology that is not very useful in realistic situations. Bomber cannons are going to be a lot more efficient. But it can be helpful in rare moments, you know? I feel like there's so many people who are a fan of the Japanese civilization who are listening to me right now, and they're just like, oh man, T90 and I do not agree. But nah, Japanese are, at least at the high level, a lot more about the earlier stages of the game. So what I would love to see from Hallis right now, because he's mopping up everything, right? I'd love to see a forward castle somewhere. He's still on stone. Yeah. No. More forward than that. Just drop it right in his face. Make him pay a price for not having an answer yet. Because what you don't want to do is give the opponent time. Now, guys, in the tech tree, it says that hussite wagons are countered by siege. They have 200 HP. But the mangonel's kind of doing some damage. I still would feel like it's not correct to say they're completely countered by siege, but it does seem to do a bit more damage than you would expect. Like, it certainly seemed... mangonels seem to do more damage against these wagons than war wagons, for example. This is a wild game. And I want to stop real quick and just note things that I've said in the past as we see double barracks and anarchy. People are like, when do Goths become good in games? I always say 60, 70 villagers, 3 TCs, and a castle, okay? So, I mean, we're at 87 versus 85. But we've got 3 TCs, a castle. And what's so good about Repard's approach is he doesn't need any more stone. There's no need for another castle unless you want protection, of course. But you just need everything else and other resources, and that castle unlocks your potential. Even in longer games with Goths, you don't really need to be making more than 1 castle, unless it's for protection. So I just don't think the mangonels really have done enough. They've weakened some of them, so maybe the end is near for a few of these. Still feels like these wagons are just going to take out the siege anyways, as we now have Huskarl spam starting. The beauty of Goths is that the KD doesn't necessarily matter, right? And we have a counter attack here from Repard. So he gets some vills in. And Hallis remembers that Sanctity also affects the Bohemian villagers. So that gives them more HP. Which I think he feels he needs right now because of the raids. I love how Repard did this, because this distracts Hallis. All those future wagons, they don't go forward. They come home now. And look at the opportunity it gives him. Look at this. So now his new Huskarls show up here, and he's got a siege here too. Maybe an opportunity here for him to deny it. Still finding more vills. Hallis is probably microing. He's like, oh god, I see what's happening. And Hallis coming forward for what could finish the game if he can finish this castle. That's a great castle spot. My cat is in the hallway meowing at me like, Dad, why are you talking and why are you not talking to me? It doesn't make any sense. But Huskarls are out. And for Hallis... these wagons have worked pretty well, but there's a lot of Huskarls, and Huskarls are really cheap. I think Hallis is realizing, oh no, this is really bad. And my 200 HP wagons are actually not doing as much as I thought they would. Now, what I love about Repard's approach is he hasn't been as stubborn as I would be with the mangonels. Like, I would stick to my opinion of them not doing that much damage, and I probably wouldn't have made them. But it's done just enough to help out with the Huskarls around, I feel. Okay. Well, Castle Foundation stays there for Hallis. Hallis should really be thinking hand cannons, I feel. But then again, this army has 4,000 HP. Like, this army in the middle of the map feels indestructible still. T90, the wiki says Hussite wagons count as siege weapons, so anything that has a bonus against siege does extra damage to them. Yeah, interesting. I thought it said something in the tech tree, though, that siege had a bonus against them. Unless you're saying that siege has a bonus for siege or something. Alice really believes in that castle, but Repard really believes in the raids. He's attacking the mill there, which is unfortunate, but getting some kills here. And those speedy vills come in. Oh my god, imagine if Hallis sits in the pond. Okay, there's siege there now. That's actually not good. They fire a little slowly, right? He hasn't been able to take it out. Oh god, that thing's getting some big shots. Okay, spreading out a little bit. Kill it, Hallis. They're clunky. There he goes. Alright, he's going to try and complete this castle, guys. And it looks like he's going to complete the castle. What a wild one. Still random Huskarls finding kills every now and then. Wait, the castle's not going to complete? Are you kidding me? Nah, that's going to complete, surely. Sanctity villagers. There you go. Castle goes up. And now you've got a castle on a big portion of your stone, your wood, your farming eco, if you're Repard. And what a great fight from Repard, honestly. What a great attempt. But now you've just got castles everywhere. And these wagons just seem to be... They seem to be enough, let's put it that way. Especially considering Hallis can drop another castle. In theory, you could repair these things. There's a lot of different things you can do. And now Hallis is going to casually get chemistry. Like, yeah, hand cannons would be cool too. I'm pretty sure I've got this game. But guys, look at Repard's economy. He's expanding, expanding, expanding. Still has barracks to create Huskarls. And in the back of his mind, he's thinking, I'm killing a lot of villagers right now. You can see with the Eco KD. And this is such a good move in general. If you can't deal with someone's force, go to their base and see what you can find. And he's splitting up constantly. 4 over here, 4 over here. We have another defensive castle from Hallis because Hallis is starting to realize that he needs the castles to deal with that. As Hallis now runs forward, and he'll find some kills, of course. We have 96 villagers versus 107. The worker efficiency, though, is really low for Hallis. So far, I feel like Hallis has taken advantage of most of the bonuses. The only thing you could say is maybe chemistry was a little late. But I think I can also understand why with this many castles, you would feel like you're going to be pretty safe against Huskarl raids in Castle Age. Oh my god, that's so many! Wow, that's so many husks! And again, 1 or 2 mangonels. I probably... I mean, this is the main thing I'm going to learn from this game, win or lose for Repard. That mixing in a few of these things with other units is actually really effective. Hallis runs through the choke, has to use his castle to shoot down those mangonels. He's not doing it. He's backing away. He's going to lose this position. Repard is ramming down that castle. Repard's villagers will be free to farm once again. The KD is even. And now you have Hallis going into something you wouldn't normally expect. And he's going to go longswords. So guys, the Huskarls are enough. The wagons are falling back. Repard's comeback is officially on. And so Hallis feels like he needs longswords. And longswords are a good option against Huskarls. They are. Problem is, if you're ever going longswords against Goths, and this is the tricky spot where it's cheaper for Goths to make their own longswords. So a lot of players in Repard's position, if they see the barracks, they're going to just click longswordsmen themselves, and then their barracks are going to make a mix of longswords and Huskarls. And they'll say, okay, mine are cheaper, I'll just match yours and hope to outproduce you. I feel like the hussite wagon is a unit that always looks either OP or kind of, I don't know, awkward to use. Would that be the word? It looked OP earlier, but now I'm like, wow, man, Repard made so much. Just the Goths, man. If the Goths survive, they've got opportunities. Look at these rams. Yeah, I don't think the rams take out this castle. I think that castle will stand. 1, 2, 3 defensive castles here for Hallis. Maybe I'm wrong, though. He doesn't have the stone to repair. He made a lot of castles. Wagons show up. Swordsmen showing up. Okay, we now have longswordsmen on the way for Repard. Yeah, that castle will stay up. Also, ballistics would be really helpful for Hallis. The castle is missing a lot of its shots because of no ballistics. I think ballistics would be useful for all of his castles. Okay, Hallis back to a 38 military count. It's 18 for Repard. He's going to drop a castle here, which is so nutty. But you don't have to be too focused on your castle spots with Goths. I guess he feels like it denies good farming eco. Here comes a massive ball of swordsmen and wagons. And Hallis sees that the siege is here. So there he goes in for this. He loses a lot of his hussite wagons. But he's got longswords now. So he's got a buffer. And a buffer that does pretty good against Huskarls. Right, sees this castle's going up, is probably like, okay, I guess I'll just go over here. And then he sees there's another raid. How does Repard find these spots, man? Repard has found so many sneaky areas with a few random units. I mean, if he had a barracks over there, I would understand it. And now look at the military. We have longswords, we have Huskarls. Suddenly there's no longswords for Hallis. He's losing all of his wagons. The castle goes up. So that's going to be tough. He does react to this. But there's just an increasing number of red units on the map. And 50 on food versus 43 on food. But at least Repard's got some gold income. Hallis is like, I mean, I've got longsword and I've got wagons. This should be enough. And in this fight, it is enough. Repard will lose this castle to a castle and longsword. He doesn't have murder holes, but guess what? Still expanding the eco in all these different ways. Still getting some raids in. Continues to fight. The longer the game goes, the better the game becomes for the Goths. With this much eco, if your opponent's gone into longsword spam, I don't care what hand cannon upgrades they have, because we're not seeing hand cannons, I guess, but this is winnable for you. And Repard's like, okay, I'll repair this castle and just be a rat. Just never go away. I'll drop another castle, because you don't need to have good castle spots with Goths. You can just build them to deny resources. You don't have to protect yourself. Here he gets a couple good hits. Here he's going after a castle. Here he's dropping that castle. And it's just spam, spam, spam. This is what my dad used to feed me for dinner Wednesday nights. It was either SpaghettiOs or spam. That's all my dad knew how to cook. Actually, forgive me. Baked beans and hot dogs. That was the other thing. My mom did most of the cooking in her family. But every Wednesday, my mom would be working and my dad would have to cook for us. And he loved spam. Spam, baked beans, SpaghettiOs, and I actually forgot, liverwurst sandwiches. Dario, yeah, Repard could grab some relics. Like, that's not a bad thing. But also you have to remember how much focus is put into this. Look at Hallis. He's thinking there's going to be another castle drop. So he's dropping gates to block castle drop foundations. This is not another castle drop, my friend. That's kind of funny looking. So if your focus is on constant military spam and constant control, sometimes you're not really going to think about snagging all the relics. That's funny. The villagers are also going to go to gold now. They'll probably get mopped up before any help arrives. I imagine Repard didn't see this gold. Yeah, that gold would be awesome. But he continues to run in here underneath this castle. And another thing I haven't mentioned in a long time is their upgrades. As it's now basically swordsman v swordsman, and Hallis has so many. But it is full armor and full attack upgrades for the Goth player. And we have murder holes now for Hallis, because he's worried about this castle being taken out. These villagers run away to the castle, probably rather annoying for Hallis because his swordsmen chase the vills, so he'll forget about that. How is he? Okay, I think if Repard wins this game, it's honestly because he keeps hitting this area with 2 to 4 units. I don't even know how he gets there, because he doesn't even have barracks over here. He's got them more towards the middle. Murder Holes is coming in clutch now for Hallis, as he walled in his vills and is now repairing, so Murder Holes is really helping out a lot. And we're just going to see Repard farm over here. And Repard is actually making petards. Repard, petard. Did you think you'd hear that today? Nope, you didn't. Repard is petard. In this case, that is, you know, I'm talking about the units, all right? I'm telling you, these Huskarls, how do they get here? I don't know. But look at the vills they're killing. And until you have like 130, 140 vills, you're probably not going to stop producing if you're Hallis, so he's got to put more food into that now. As he finally reacts. The farm placement's actually fine. The farm placement's fine. It's about farm number more than anything. The worse your farms, the better to the player. That's at least what Viper told me, so I have to take that as fact. It would really help if he had handcart. Once you have handcart, these farms, it's fine. Got 65 farms right now, but Hallis has 60 military. So Hallis is out infantrying the infantry civ here. But for how long? Here you have two Huskarls. Just finding villagers, getting kills. Now this is where it gets scary against the Goths. If they start to build sneak barracks, then they can do what Repard has been doing so much easier. You set the gather points in the opponent's base, and you kind of treat it like Hussar in late game. But finally, Hallis finds some type of a counterattack. That's good. This is something Repard can deal with, but there's obviously a lot going on right now. Okay, I just saw a petard explode, and another petard explode. So Hallis still taking some good engagements here. He still has the military lead. Don't ask me how. And now he's going to start to mix in hand cannons. So you guys have probably been thinking, like, where are the hand cannons? And I really would have liked to have seen hand cannons earlier for Hallis. But now that he's got the infantry under control, he's going to back it up with the hand cannons. It's just the sides of his base are not secured. So he's pushing mid. He's going to try and push mid anyways. And he almost has to because this is going to get out of hand. He realizes now. So he's probably going to send... You'll see a bunch of blue lines over here. All his new infantry is probably going to go over there to deal with that. Repard also found this gold. But now Repard will send all of his infantry from home to this hill to hold. And then he will just trickle in units on the side. Yeah, now Hallis is going to add more barracks. This is incredible, man. This is incredible. I mean, Hallis going infantry spam without the Goth discount is nuts. And then the fact that Repard has stayed alive in this game against everything he's been up against is nuts. Look how he spreads out his units. Somehow gets one over here. Now here he is. He feels like this fight is maybe one he has to take. And it's one he's going to clear up. He also has a Vil lead right now. So he's spending less on his infantry. But he is bringing in more resources. See what Ballistics did, though? Ballistics and Bodkin is so huge on these castles. And Repard, hoping to keep this castle up, he realizes that he doesn't want this to be open. Alice has lost a lot of Vils in this game. The KD is dead even. He really needs to clear up the buildings for this not to be an issue. Just villagers attacking now. I don't know. It's 35 military versus 35 military. Everything's dying. You have hand cannons in here now. Like, Bohemians feel like the ultimate counter to Goths, right? I don't know if they get champion. I feel like they don't get supplies. But they have good infantry. They have great gunpowder. That is the counter to Goths. And they have more useful eco bonuses earlier on in the game. So we're going to see these barracks get finished off. So that gets dealt with. We have a siege workshop for Repard. Nothing really to back it up. Repard, though, really needs, I think, at this stage, to continue to raid. And then he needs to mass like 100 units if he can. Right here. Again, it's cheaper for Goths, but Repard hasn't had this gold. Thank God he's had that 3-tile gold. Alice does. Okay, so he did get supplies. Okay, gotcha. Thank you. Yeah, so that's good. So that makes your infantry cheaper, so you can counter this, but this is a wild game. 50 on food. Said 60 on food a second ago for Hallis. Still feels like Repard, if he could have more barracks, could pop up here. I think it's about to happen. I think we're about to see 50, 60 military for him. But he has to force engagements before he sees more hand cannons. That's what I'd be thinking. Because once it's like 10, 15 hand cannons, then you're really going to be in trouble. I think gold is an issue for Hallis in the long term here. He's got one relic, but there's 50 gold remaining there. And he can't take that gold anymore. Actually, what's the gold mine look like here? Wow, that's crazy to me. That's just absolutely nuts to me. Okay. Goths, they do get 210 pop space in Imp, but they're stuck at 200 in Castle. Still, though, I think all in Castle Age is one of the best things you can do here. You've got the position with all your castles, right? So you kind of have Hallis stuck and pinned back. How they have the economies to make this much. Well, okay, I'll take that back. For Repard, it makes sense he has the economy for this. I don't understand how Hallis has lost this many Vils and can still make this many swordsmen. It's absolutely nuts. He's done a really good job. But he's super low on gold. He's got 300 more gold there. He kind of needs to win this fight, I guess, which is what he's going to aim to do so he can take that gold. Remember, he also dropped a lot of castles, which is a lot of his stones, so you can't really sell that either. And this is a really good fight for Repard. I mean, considering he's fighting against hand cannons and castle fire, it's a good start to the fight. Let's put it that way. All right, Rams coming in. Rams coming in for the castle, okay. And he still kept this castle up. That's nuts. I mean, if he takes that out, this is where a lot of the buildings are for Hallis. He can't afford to lose this area. So he goes in with Vils and brings swordsmen over to keep the castle up. Meanwhile, Repard, you see his move? Immediate patrol into the main fight. Force a reaction, fight the other side. Force a reaction, fight the other side. Queue a bunch of units, queue a bunch of Vils, add a bunch of farms. Force a reaction, spam the other side. Just constant. He has a score lead, guys. But great fight here from Hallis. Maybe one Repard's not going to expect. And this could get out of hand if Repard doesn't notice this. Hallis just happily falls back to this castle. This castle has 100 126 kills. This castle has contributed to a fifth of the kills. This castle here is 22. For perspective, Repard's castle has 20. This castle has 18. This castle with ballistics, though, has mattered so much. But is it going to be enough? Is it going to be enough? Repard has the better economy. Here he comes with the ram now. He just continues to spam because he can. Any other civ, they would have run out of resources. But with Goths, it's cheap. He actually hops inside the ram, which means the ram attacks slightly faster. This is something he hasn't cleared up yet, but he does have a little raid going here. Also is attacking a longsword down here. How he's doing everything at the same time, who knows? But this castle, the most important castle for Hallis, is about to fall because he's out of gold, guys. Except for that one relic he has, bringing him in a trickle. Hallis is completely out of gold. I don't even think having a second or third relic, I mean, certainly getting it right now or over the last 10 minutes, I don't think would have made a difference. I think this gold mattered a lot. And I think Repard holding this gold for the last couple minutes has paid off. Also, think of the losses for Hallis. Think of Wagenburg tactics. Think of the wagons. It feels like another game at this point. But all of that was really expensive. And he wasn't able to finish off the game with that. Now he gets back here. First time he's been over here in a long time with some army. And we're just going to see Repard. Here he comes. Another ram. He says, who cares about your KD? He'll go in for that castle. And I think this game is over for Hallis. We knew the snowball was coming. It has finally arrived. 20 military for Hallis. He's at 100 pop. He's most likely control grouping his barracks. And he continues to click the longsword hotkey. And he's going to look and realize he doesn't have any in queue because he can't afford it. He'll see his pop. Pops out of the ram there to save it. That's so good. That castle's down. Ah! 20 HP. Quick, get Vodka Arrow from your castle. 20 HP. And this gets chased down and this gets dealt with. He probably doesn't realize it's 20 HP, so he probably won't look at that, but he'll hit the other areas. Hallis could maybe fight in one spot reasonably well, but nah, he's got 13. He's behind 30 vills. Despite, you know, everything that's happened in this game, despite how well he's played it. And Repard is just... He's chaotic, man. Like, I played him in 1v1s a lot. And Repard is a chaotic player who just refuses to die. And I feel like he just fit the Goth style perfectly in this game. Constantly expanding, constantly spamming random areas, not stressing too much about specific fights, like not thinking, is this cost effective for me? Nah, like I doesn't care about that. Just make it crazy. And also, I think he had a really intelligent Castle Age. Obviously, most of this game was Castle Age, but I should say early Castle Age. He was able to find ways to keep his eco safe or hide it. And if you get to this stage, with this civilization, there's very few civs that can stop it. Wild. And Hallis probably just can't believe it. Like, actually, Hallis' score is so high, he probably doesn't think that Repard is imping. He probably doesn't think that this is in any way over. He probably isn't happy about things because... I think what he's going to be doing here is actually selling his stone. I'd be selling all that stone so I could get more gold for Longswordsmen. Because you're clearly out-popped here. You look at his scouting. He never really was able to get control of this. He doesn't have any corners, right? He's got one corner, but he's about to get raided in this one again. And of course, Repard can just click the Longswordsman up, or not the Longswordsman, sorry, two-handed swordsman upgrade and be fine. He could also get the final attack upgrade and be fine. There's also more techs that make this even stronger. Perfusion. He'll create units almost instantly out of his barracks. But I'd be surprised if Hallis doesn't call it when Imp comes in. He's restabilized a little bit. I think Repard was just collecting his thoughts. 75 infantry. Again, one unit here. A couple units here. And then the main group. So good, dude. That's so good. I'm really impressed with how Repard played this game. Goths, man. Goths. And now Hallis is like, what? How did this happen? He calls the GG, and the game is won. Okay, so let's talk about this. I think it's very easy to say after the fact that maybe we should have seen hand cannons. But in the moment, right, this Civ is still relatively new. I don't think we see Bohemians against Goths too frequently, right? Not on Arabia anyways. This is the first time I've ever seen that matchup. So with all that said, with a Hussite wagon having 200 HP, and then having like, he had enough where he had 4,000 HP of wagons. I feel as though that right there is an army that you should have faith in. I actually think that was fine for Hallis. I think the main thing for Hallis, and this is always the key when you're up against Goths, is actually just not finding the expansive eco from repard. Like, he did do a good job in Feudal with his army, but I would have loved to have seen him scout the other side. Like, I think that he just thought, I've won the game, and assumed that there was nothing from repard, which was correct. But he never found that stone. If he would have come over here, at the very least, for some towers, then repard wouldn't have had the castle as quickly. Then those wagons are able to do damage faster, and it just delays Goths getting to a stage where they feel comfortable. But, you know, you have to chalk it up to repard being really sneaky either way. Like, his raids, I think, is what won him the game. It wasn't 95% of his army. No, it was the 5%, and what the 5% was accomplishing. Because every time a Huskarl or a Longsword shows up to your base, you have to react to that, at least one more unit. It takes away from the middle, and it takes away from you having control. I love the sneaky barracks. I love the sneaky units from repard. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is Goths beating a Civ which should completely Shrek them. And that is because Goths are Goths, regardless of the Civ they're up against, with few exceptions. Why not full hand cannons? Well, again, you say it after the fact, right? But a wagon is a gunpowder unit. It's a siege weapon, but it's gunpowder with 200 HP. And they're super tanky with longsword support, right? So straight infantry against infantry and gunpowder, it feels like infantry and gunpowder will win. On paper, it does win. The issue is with Goths, it's like they're so special at spamming infantry is that they can push back better compositions and they can stay alive in games because of how cheap their units are. So that's why I call Goths the most imbalanced Civ in the game, because there's so many reasons why they should die early on and so many reasons why they fall behind because of lack of bonuses. But they're just able to, if they're able to get to certain stages, they can come back against any Civ. Ridiculous. There's the KD, 679 versus 645. Here's the eco, as I probably touched on. That was the other thing. Repard killed the Vils, which is why he had the eco lead. I honestly think if Hallis had one more gold pile, like that 3-tile gold towards the south, maybe he could have continued to fight back there. And yeah, you got to, think back with Hallis, like maybe Hallis could have dropped the castle in a more crucial area, denied some things. But yeah, look at this. So in that game, Hallis, well, he ended the game with 127. Or no, actually, he ended with 100, excuse me. His max was 127. But his total was 342. So someone do the math for me. We have 342 minus 226. How much food is that here? Let me do that. That is, let's see. How much extra food did Hallis have to put into villagers in that game because of the villager losses? Quick math. I got this. I'm totally doing this in my head. We have 116 times 50 is 5,800 food. So he had to put 5,800 extra food into villagers simply because of all those raids. And obviously when you have less food in general, and then the Goth infantry costs less food, you're just completely at the limit compared to the other player. What was the eco KD? I thought I showed the eco KD. Is it not on here? I don't like how they don't have it at the final screen. Anyways, the eco KD is right here. Eco KD is right here. So it was 248 to 109. Repard getting those raids in. GG.